Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so the score was 118-111. The Lakers fall to the Minnesota Timberwolves in Minnesota. Um, fourth straight loss for the squad. And I thought they came out with a good effort in the first quarter, particularly really came out with urgency. Got the lead a couple times in this game, but just could never really get over the hump. I think the size of Minnesota helped them a lot. Their defense really was key there, forcing over 11 steals and forcing us into 18 turnovers. We had about 6 steals to their 13. I don't remember exactly how many it was, but that's where things really went left for us. We ran a zone in the fourth quarter that I thought they were attacking pretty well. We were getting stops here and there, but they were also attacking it just well enough to stop us. Ant-Man, I think, walked it away with like 27. I think AD walked away with like 32 and 8. D'Lo had some good defensive stats in a very good fourth quarter, but the majority of the game he was hovering around like 2 of 12. It was really a struggle through 3 quarters with D'Lo. Give credit to Taurean Prince. He really shot the ball very well. I think he ended with like 4 of 4. I don't think he missed a shot tonight, so he was really good offensively. We had no Braun out there. I think Braun probably would have put us over the hump. This is one of those games where it's like everybody showed up the right way. We just didn't have that Braun factor to get us easy buckets, draw certain fouls, and that's really what was missing. If he was out there, we would have won this game, I think. So that's just tough for him to not be available. He was a late scratch, I believe it was, with an ankle. So I don't know. I thought the team came out with the right level of intensity, but you figure Braun averages 25 points. We lost by 7, so I think that's where we really fell. I think we win this game if he plays. That's what it really comes down to. I would love to say I'm more disappointed than I am. I'm not. I think they came out better than I thought they would. I thought they put up a good effort. Like I said, I was ready to kill D'Lo, but D'Lo ended up having a very good fourth quarter, so you can't really do that. Like I said, he had like 3 steals, 2 blocks. He didn't, he was hurting us through 3 quarters. So through 3 quarters, we were angry, but in the fourth quarter, he just showed up and hit some big shots. Thought Austin Reeves, he did good. He's been averaging 20 points in this stretch, and I think that's where we can make an adjustment. D'Lo, with his struggles, with the exception of the fourth quarter, and you look at Austin's efficiency and how he's been killing it throughout the course of the last several games. I think I move him into the starting lineup and move D'Lo to the bench and let him play the Austin role and just see if that works for me. Maybe you like Austin coming off the bench. Maybe that's why Austin's playing so well. I don't know. But, yeah, man. Cam Reddish, I thought he played a pretty good game in the first half. I like seeing him drive to the basket, scoops and stuff like that. Hustle was there. I don't think we saw enough Vanderbilt tonight, but I know he's trying to come back from injury and they're trying to work him in slowly. I thought we could have put him on the floor in a couple situations where Ant-Man was just running past people. It would have been nice to see Vanderbilt on Ant-Man a little more. So, it's easy to be frustrated. Obviously, if we hadn't lost the last 3 games, if we hadn't played so bad in the last 5 games, I think this is a much more energetic video for me. But I just think these losses are piling up and I'm starting to get a little frustrated with those losses. But if you just isolate this game, we actually played about as well as you expect to play without LeBron against the number 1 overall basketball team in the league right now. So the Minnesota Timberwolves move on to 21-6. That's their record there. Our record, I don't know what our record. I didn't even look at our record, but it's not as good as that. And this is one of those games where it's just you got to tip your hat to the opponent, because it really came down to was this is why they have such a good record, because they find ways of winning games like this. But through the most part, it was frustrating because you find yourself down by a lot, coming back, closing in, getting the lead, and then as soon as you get the lead, you go right back down by 9, and that kind of thing. So, that's kind of the vibe. It's kind of the vibe, man. We knew this was going to be a tough stretch for the Los Angeles Lakers. We didn't expect to win too many games in this stretch because we have such talented teams to face. And the Bulls was a game we really needed, and we laid an egg. And then you had the Minnesota Timberwolves, you got the OKC Thunder, you got the Boston Celtics. You play the Charlotte Hornets, and then you play these Timberwolves again. So it's like, how many of these do you expect to really win? And, you know, if you're a contending team that's playing well, you expect to compete. But given the fact that we're on a bad stretch, playing poorly, you don't expect to compete very much. So I thought with the expectations going in, I thought we exceeded those. And so that's really how I felt about this basketball game. But, you know, at the end of the day, we saw Coach try to go to the centers, which is what we needed him to do yesterday. He tried to go to Jackson Hayes. Jackson had a solid first half and a very bad second half with the minutes given. Kind of broke up some of our momentum that was going in a positive light with a couple plays that he did down the stretch, bouncing the ball off his leg and not playing defense very well in the fourth. So his limitations were really irritating there in the fourth quarter for me. Rui Hachimura played a pretty good game, even though he fell on his back in a really scary way. He was able to play through that, tough that out. And I thought he gave us one of the better games he's had since coming back. Of course, he got the start tonight, so there were more opportunities for him. And I think that's really what we need, is for Rui to get more opportunities and for Coach not to get strangled with some of the other rotations that don't have him involved in getting consistent minutes. I know we got Bron and AD as our superstars, and they both play the forward position. But you need to use Rui more than you do Darvin. And I think tonight was a reigning example of why you do. I think, you know, I like what Taurean does, but the problem is you got to respect that Taurean's, if he's going to shoot the three ball like he did tonight, you're going to love having him out there. But if the three ball doesn't fall, every other area of basketball, you probably would be best to have Rui on the floor. And, you know, I've heard the argument about how Taurean's likely going to be a better defender from left to right, but I don't agree. I just simply don't agree. I think Rui's a better defender than people give him credit for, guarding smaller players. And so this is why you need Rui to either be, you know, traded for somebody that you're going to be able to utilize more at a different position, or you find ways of utilizing him while Bron and AD are on the floor. And I think with the brotherhood that he and Bron have gotten together, I don't think the Lakers should underestimate that. He and Bron have a good vibe about one another. They get along very well. They've worked out in the offseason. Similar height and build. I would like to see Rui stay on this team for chemistry with Bron. I really do. I think that's something to consider before making a move. But all in all, this is just another disappointing night of being a Laker fan, man. However you want to slice it. Like I said, the energy was there, the intensity was there. I thought the focus for the most part was there, but the game plan left a lot of open shots. Some of that zone was getting attacked properly. Ant-Man walked away with 27 points. He had a good game against us, which is rare. And even for all the different things that we were able to get away with, you know, Naz Reid fouling out early in the fourth quarter, Rudy Gobert having a high turnover game, not really doing a whole lot in the paint early on. We still didn't get the victory. You know, Karl Towns wasn't especially hot from behind the arc. It was just a lot of stuff that, you know, you felt like you could attack this Minnesota team and possibly win this basketball game. They didn't play their greatest game against us, and we still lost the game. So, you know, that's really what it is, man. I thought Austin Reeves was very aggressive. I like what I saw from him. Rui, you know, TP shooting the ball very well. AD was really aggressive. But I just thought we turned the ball over in some key ways. You know, this is one of those games where I say we tried some things that we should be doing more often, and because we don't do it as often, it wasn't as crisp as it needed to be. That's what comes to mind, man. You know, you went to Jackson Hayes some, but you don't go to Jackson Hayes as much as you should, so he's not as good as he should be. Another game where Max Christie doesn't get any playing time. I don't agree with that. I think the development of a guy like Max Christie requires you keep him out there. This is what we're talking about. And then when you finally put him back out there, he stinks because you don't use him consistently enough. You see him have a 1-for-6 game and forget that he's a great rebounder, a great perimeter defender. You need to keep cultivating this young player. And a night like tonight, when we could use his dynamic play a little more, he doesn't get a single moment. Not a single minute. I just think that that this coach is not good. Like, what else? What you want me to say, Laker fans? He's not good, man. Darvin Ham was part of the problem tonight, man. The spacing was off. The zone was overused. And he played players he should be using all the time. Once letting this be the blue moon that he played them. And it ain't look very good tonight. We didn't see any Christian Wood in the second half. The limitations of the team showed, man. Guys were getting blown past. You know, and if we didn't have D'Angelo Russell finding his stroke in the last 7 minutes of the fourth quarter, we probably lose this game by like 15, 20 points, man. And for all intent and purposes, he was bad right up until that point. Like, he was a part of why the game was going so bad. A good portion of the time was him bricking just, you know, mid-range jump shots, stuff like that. I don't know, man. I'm about ready for the Lakers to make a move there. What is a shining positive thing for me over the last 5 games that hasn't been mentioned at all is how well Anthony Davis's mid-range jumper is. He's been shooting that very well, and that's something that he hasn't been hitting very well at all. In fact, last year he was in the 20% range or something shooting middies. So his midi has returned, and I think that that's something that needs to be pointed out because that mid-range shot has been falling pretty good as of late. And I think that's why his scoring has gone up significantly. So I'm very happy with his mid-range shot. Hopefully he keeps on shooting it at the same rhythm, continues to shoot it with confidence because it's been pretty. It's been falling. But other than that, man, I don't know, man. Love TP shooting the ball, but on the other end, he's getting ran past. Again, dynamic plays, bouncing in the backcourt, stuff like that, just not falling into place. It's like for every good thing we get there, you have to acknowledge that stuff is going wrong on the other end. So it's kind of tough, man. It's kind of tough. If D'Lo could have played like that the whole game, we would have been great. You know what I mean? The last few minutes, he had some really good, nice looks, things like that. If he would have had that type of confidence in the first half, we probably would have had a lead and kept it. The way the Timberwolves were kind of just okay. They were just okay. I thought they had active hands. Their defense showed, as we said, they had a bunch of steals against us. So that part of their game was pretty strong. But offensively, I just thought they were a little above average. I thought Minnesota did not look like the best team in the West or the best team in the league tonight. Not to me. And we still managed to give 118 points to them. So, yeah, man. Another loss for the Lakers, man. Just another 4th straight loss. Going into OKC, the 2nd overall best team in the Western Conference, who just beat the Clippers tonight. You know, it's going to be tough. I don't have much confidence going into that one either. You know, not much. So that's where we at, man. That is exactly what it is, man. I'm tired of this bunch. I'm tired of them. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Darvin Ham, D'Lo. There's a couple guys on this team I like a lot. Jackson Hayes. We're not using certain guys correctly, and so they're not gonna look very good when you do put them out there. That kind of thing, as I've already said. That's kind of my takeaway. I'm just tired of the bunch. But it ain't really the roster. It's the coach, man. It's how he's using that roster, what he's asking them to do, how the spacing is set up, what defense he runs and when. That kind of stuff is frustrating, very frustrating. Anthony Davis, like I said, I thought he was a star tonight, but I can tell you that we needed Bron out there to be our number 1. AD's a firm number 2. Superstar, but a number 2, man. You can't function without him, but, he's not going to dictate wins and losses. That's what we learned about him in New Orleans, and we've learned that here too. He's going to be a firm, intense need for any basketball club he's on. But you had better have your Bron James. You had better have your Anthony Edwards. You had better, you know what I mean? It's that kind of, if you want to win with AD, you need that player. Because otherwise, he's going to do all types of stuff, but you're not going to win the game. That's what I'm learning. So he's a firm number 2. D'Lo ain't no number 3. And nobody else on this roster that we had tonight's a number 3 either, for that matter. Austin Reeves ain't no number 3. None of those guys are number 3s, man. We need our number 3. And That's what it comes down to. We need our number one and we need our number three. And until the Lakers have that, they're always going to be looking at games like this from the bottom side of it. That's just what comes to mind, man. So we didn't have our number one out there, and we lose a basketball game. That's it. That's the Los Angeles Lakers 2023. That's how this year is summing up for us right now. And so we got to get that pecking order in place. And Darvin Ham needs to, he needs to do better. I don't know what else to say, man. He needs to be better. There's a lot of people calling for his job right now. And it's hard to make a defensive case there. It's hard to defend, man. When you see efforts like this tonight, it's like, okay, well, they were kind of showing up. But when you see efforts like we saw last night, it's like, nah, that wasn't it. You see how they've been playing since the tournament game? Nah, that wasn't it. And this is just another loss added to that stretch, man. You don't beat San Antonio. You don't beat the Knicks. You don't beat Chicago. And you come into Minnesota, of course, no, you ain't going to beat Minnesota. You know what I'm saying? It's that kind of thing. And tomorrow you can pretty much feel the same way about the OKC game. Nah, you ain't going to beat OKC. Or whenever that game is. Probably 2 days from now or something. Nah, you probably not. Let's just be real. So that's kind of the stretch, man. That's where we are. That is exactly where we are. Game ball. If I'm going to give the game ball to anybody, I don't know. I really don't know. I have no idea. Maybe Anthony Edwards. I don't know. The Minnesota had a very balanced game tonight. I don't think anybody played outside of their skin over there. Not really. Nobody did. They were just good enough to beat us. And if anybody was shooting well on our team, I would say probably Anthony Davis. But I don't believe in giving a game ball to a losing player. Someone lost. Unless you scored 75 points in a loss, I'm not giving you the game ball. So I guess I'll give it to Anthony Edwards. But I don't know. That's how the Lakers got me feeling right now, man. So I don't know. They didn't play bad enough for me to scream and holler, but they didn't play well enough to beat this team. And D'Lo Russell, a lot of what I thought was wrong was him. And then he came back in the fourth quarter and made it respectable. His stats looked pretty good. Shooting numbers weren't great, but he contributed in other areas, so I can't really get on this case like I really want to, because he was trash through 3 quarters. And I thought it contributed a great deal to why we weren't any good out there. A great deal. But he got it together in the fourth. So yeah, man, that is it. That is exactly how I feel about this Lakers, man. I don't want to sit up here and talk for 35 minutes like I did last night, because I just ain't angry enough to, nor did they play well enough to. We just somewhere in that mediocrity space where it's like, yeah, you know what I mean? That's where they at. That's what it is. I just don't think that we're displaying ourselves to be anything more than a team that can win a season tournament. That's what we're looking like right now. And that is not good enough for our standards as a Laker organization and fan base, and it's not good enough for our colors. We're in no man's land, ladies and gentlemen. That's where we're at. We're in no man's land. And I think it's because of a lot of average coach, average role players. That's what we got. And that's not what I want. That's not what I want. I understand we're in a great space for our cap space situation. And I'm happy about that. But I'm relied upon too much average to do anything extraordinary. And it's somewhere in the ballpark of bored is what I guess I'll call this. I'm bored. Not really bored, but like it's somewhere in there to where I'm not good enough to really root for this too much right now. And I'm not angry enough. We ain't bad enough to where we want to pull our hair out. We're just stuck. Like, okay, this is cool. We're going to give us another average effort, and then we may go on a stretch where we win 3 games and may make the playoffs, and then may get bounced out of here by a team that's just going to be extraordinary, who's just going to be better than us. And you see it coming. You know that's where you're headed. And it's no man's land, man. That's what it is. It's no man's land. If we are the Clippers or the Bulls or the Kings or any of these other teams that haven't won very much, then you're like, all right, yeah, No man's land is not the worst place to be. But if you're the Los Angeles Lakers with 17 championships, no man's land is hell. It's absolute hell. Because at least when I'm bad, I know I'm getting the first overall pick. The next homegrown Laker is going to be coming into the uniform. We could be excited about him, maybe even trade him for a superstar. This here, this is nothing. This is nothing. And so that's how I feel, man. That's exactly how I feel. This team is average. They're just average, fam. And they show up for the big games, and I thought they did tonight, but it fell short, and that's cool. And you fell short because you just were average. That's why. Your best effort was cool. You know what I'm saying? Literally. So big changes need to be made if we want to get better, man. It ain't going to be just us running these guys out over and over again thinking it's going to be any better than this. It's not. As long as you're relying upon guys that are just average, you're going to come up average. That's it. And it starts with that head coach, man. It starts with that Darvin Ham piece. And so I know a lot of people want to see him succeed. I'm one of them. But it just gets to a point where, do I have time to watch him develop? Do I have time for him to learn from his mistakes? How many times do you have to break his heart, have his heart broken before he actually becomes a good coach? And how many more years of that do I have to give LeBron James? You know what I mean? Bron don't have that to waste. Waiting for Darvin to learn that, running zone for too long is not the best way to go. Or running small ball lineups is gonna have him losing games. We ain't got time for him to be learning these very simple lessons. You know what I mean? Seriously. These are simple lessons. If you ain't gonna put your centers on the floor, you're gonna get out rebounded. How many losses did Darvin have to take before this starts helping him lose sleep? Does he need to be fired in order to learn these lessons so that in the next place he goes to, he can have a healthy fear for what happens when he does this stupid crap? Like what do we do? What do we do when our coach don't understand certain things shouldn't be done, man? What do you do? And so that's really what it comes down to, man. We don't have time for this. We don't have time for this. BDL 44, I thank you all for watching. I'm out.